She had to point out the 1988.
Yeah.
He was wincing backstage.
Kid.
Just a kid, just a kid. So we only have 20 minutes. I want to dive right in. But just to get a sense of the crowd here so we can think about our answers. How many people here are founders?
That's
Right.
30%.
Good eyes. Investors? People can be founders and investors.
Yeah, sure.
And I guess service providers, people at tech companies. Right. Okay. So kind of a founder-heavy crowd here.
Yeah, that's great.
So
and I
that's
understand it's 40% larger than ever
It
before.
is, yes. I think Disrupt is 40% larger this year. So let's dive right in, though. Everyone here knows probably that Kleiner Perkins, your firm, was involved in a pretty high-profile court case, the Ellen Pao trial. I was in the courtroom for over a month.
I didn't know that.
I was there every day.
I was there a couple days.
You were there a couple of days providing testimony. The verdict 6 months ago now, in your favor, and Ellen just announced 2 weeks ago that she is not going to exercise her right to appeal. I'm just curious how you think about the whole situation now that it's behind you, I suppose.
Yeah. So, Colleen, my partners and I wish Ellen and her family the very best. And we're glad that the litigation is behind us. It kicked off a really important conversation about diversity in the tech industry and more broadly diversity in the workplace. And it made it really clear that even at Kleiner, where I'm deeply committed to diversity, and we've got more we can do and should do to get to a 50-50 world where everybody has an opportunity to contribute, make a difference, and live better because of that.
Are there specific things that you're doing at Kleiner Perkins, to change that? What specifically is happening right now?
Sure, there's 4 things that we started doing. I won't go through all of them, but one is to get unconscious bias training in our company and make it available to all the ventures that we work with. A second is we have a fellows program, and we've been tracking the diversity of that. It was maybe 30% last year, up 50% from the year before. Our goal is 50-50 in the coming year. And we publish a diversity report. It's on our website. I think it's one of the first in the venture industry. Okay. 25% of my partners are diverse, and we're hugely diverse in age, gender, and ethnicity.
Okay, but you still want to get better, I suppose.
We can be better.
Yeah. I want to talk about the future of Kleiner a little bit more, but really quickly, I kind of want to go back in time. As they mentioned, introducing you, you've been at Kleiner Perkins for 35 years now.
Yep. I'm looking for something better to do. I haven't found it.
keep looking. But along the way, you've funded, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Jeff Bezos. Has the breed of entrepreneur changed throughout the years? Would you fund the same, if Sergey Brin would time travel? Do you think you'd still fund them today, or does it take something different now to be a successful entrepreneur now that everything is booming?
So I think, this is my observation, that the DNA of today's amazing entrepreneurs is the same as it was for Larry or for Sergey 10, 20 years ago when they started those companies. The cells that are expressed by that DNA, they're younger than they were before. I think maybe 5 or 10 years younger. It's easier now than ever to start a new company. But if you look at the vision, the ambition, the drive, the audacity to imagine a world that's different than the one they live in, I remember meeting Larry Page. He sat across the table from me and said, "John, we're going to organize all the world's information." And I said, and this was when there were a dozen search engines. And I said, "Well, how big can that be?" He said, no kidding, he said 10 billion. And I said, "Surely, Larry."
$10 billion.
10 billion. I said, "Surely you mean market cap." He said, "No, I mean revenues. People do not understand how important search will be." And that, led to a crazy love affair and adventure between Larry and me and Sergey and that whole Google thing.
And
it has potential. Google has potential. This whole, keep an eye on that company. This whole Alphabet move,
Yeah, what do you think about, because you're on the board at Google.
Yeah, that's not what matters so much, but somebody wrote about Alphabet that it's a really good thing for the country that we've got a company with that many smart people and that much resource that's doing bold things, from self-driving cars to contact lenses that'll sense glucose to balloons that'll bring internet everywhere. Name another company that's doing that. I can't. So.
Right. And so you talk, these founders that are clearly still very inspiring to you that you invested in a while ago. What is something right now? What's a recent investment or a recent entrepreneur that you're the most excited about?
So the entrepreneur and venture that I'm most excited about right now, unfortunately, is Stealth. But I think that'll change in a short while. And I would say they aim to do for healthcare what Google did for information, which is to take all the country's healthcare information and make it useful and valuable and available to bring change to the largest, most screwed up part of our economy. That's the healthcare system, right? We spend $3 trillion a year on healthcare in the United States, and most people would agree that a third of that is wasted or it's unnecessary expenditures because, you were going to ask me why, because the patients, you and I, the providers, the hospitals and doctors, and the payers, all the money comes from the government or from companies, are not linked in any rational economic system. You don't know what a knee surgery is going to cost before you agree to have it done. Guess what? The hospitals don't know what it costs either. Their goal is to just fill all the beds in the hospitals. So if we could bring real transparency and a functioning market to the healthcare system, we can do incredible things. So the Affordable Care Act was a big step forward. Even before that, the Recovery Act set aside $22 billion to move all the healthcare records up to the cloud. And they're mostly there now. Okay. So it's a golden age in healthcare. And as you can tell, my partner Beth Seidenberg, Kleiner's been in health forever. Digital health, I think, is a really big deal.
Now, and I know that's a big focus of yours. It's a big focus of a lot of people too now, because I think other people are seeing this opportunity.
Yeah.
So clearly there are a lot of entrepreneurs, going through
incubators.
Yeah, all of the Rock Health doing a great job.
But these are difficult markets. There's really entrenched interest, and change comes slowly. So.
Right. How do you know this company that you're excited about that's in stealth? How do you know to invest in that one that says it's going to change everything?
Same way I knew to invest in Jeff Bezos. Okay. The character of the entrepreneur, knowing whether or not I'd like to get in trouble with her and her team. The boldness of the vision, their focus on execution. That's how.
Is there a way that you gauge that in one meeting? I mean, I'm sure you have some secret methods that you use, but do you have one that you could share? How do you find that out?
I can tell in the first meeting. It's pattern matching. Mm-hmm. That's the secret sauce.
And when you think about new partners at Kleiner Perkins, how do you convey pattern matching to them? I mean, can you replicate that?
So we're looking for new partners who've done it before. Okay. They themselves have been entrepreneurs or operating executives in the tech industry. They too have a big vision. They're more service-oriented than the founder of a company is necessarily. But most of my best partners have founded companies, or they've incubated them once they're at Kleiner Perkins. Dr. Beth Seidenberg's an example. She's, I think, co-founded or founded 4 or 5 biotech companies. Ted Schlein, my partner in security, he founded 2 really great cybersecurity companies that have gone on to do well. And that's been a Kleiner tradition ever since. Did you know Genentech was incubated at Kleiner Perkins? We invested all of...
I thought it was incubated at UCSF.
Oh, no. It was incubated by Bob Swanson, who was a junior partner. And Kleiner boldly invested $10,000 a month for 18 months to buy 24% of the company. That was then, this is now.
Right.
Yeah.
When things go wrong, because this morning, Quirky, which Kleiner Perkins had invested in, announced, it filing for bankruptcy. That was an investment that I'm sure people on your team were very excited about at the time, seemed to tick off those boxes. I mean, didn't feel like a mistake at the time. What happens internally at Kleiner Perkins after something like that happens? Is there a post-mortem? Is there something that you all sort of do?
Well, the most important thing that happens is if the venture is running into difficulties. And almost all ventures do. And then the question is, what do you do about that? Do you support the founder? Do you try to bring in more team members? Do you broaden the base of investors? Do you find other smart groups like General Electric to help invest and try to grow it? But remember, this is venture capital. Ventures fail. Most ventures fail. And so, the good news is you can only lose one times your money. You can make multiple times it. And I don't mean to be flip in that regard. I look at every one of these and say, these are the hopes and dreams of entrepreneurs. And our job, my partners and I, our job is to be a service provider. And I want to see Kleiner hanging on to the wagon as it's almost to go over the cliff. That our heels are dug in, that we'll stick with them. But if it's not going to work, the best thing to do is move on. Don't waste people's lives and careers on something that is not going to be worthy of their time.
Right.
Ideas are easy. It's execution that's everything.
Right. Okay, I guess I want to just pivot from there because I want to talk about this. I went to your office just last week to talk to you, and to chat a little bit about this chat. And I walked out of there with 5 very large books. You just kind of kept piling them on top of me, saying, you got to read this. You have this, John has this big, bookshelf in his office. Is that something you do with everyone?
Yeah, no, I have this bookshelf of my favorite books, and who loves reading books? Show of hands here, right? Okay. Jeff Bezos taught me something about books. He said, John, when people walk into a bookstore, a physical bookstore, the emotional experience is you should be leaving there feeling better about yourself. You found a way to grow. You've read a review by someone else online or on the staff. And so I've got maybe 25 of my favorite books there, 3 or 4 copies of each, and I like sharing them. And then people send back to me what their favorite 3 books are. What have you read that you like a lot? Well,
I've got to start. You gave me one of the one that I'm probably going to read first out of the stack is The Martian. The
Martian. That's right. If you're not tuned into this, this is the time to be interested in Mars. Next week, major motion picture from 20th Century Fox called The Martian, with Matt Damon, I'll add. But the book is fascinating because it was written by Andy Weir, who is a programmer in Mountain View. And Andy, the fiction is an American astronaut gets stranded in Mars. And all the rest of the book is science, and it's scientifically accurate about how he grows potatoes to sustain himself, how he gets back to Earth. And so I called up Andy and I said, hey, you want to have lunch? And this humble, unassuming programmer from Mountain View came by and told his story, which in brief was he'd written this, he researched it between programming gigs, he posted the manuscript on his website, nothing happened. He offered it for sale for $1 on the Kindle store at Amazon.com, and kaboom, for the last 18 months, it's been in the top 20 of science fiction. It's a new kind of genre. So first recommendation to you, The Martian.
The Martian.
Read the book, see the movie, and I've got a few more. So I'll tell you what, if you have 3 of your favorite books that you recommend to me, I will send you an email back with 3 of my favorite books, all right?
Okay.
And I'm Doerr at KPCB.com.
Okay.
Send me your 3 favorite books.
We're going to have a big reading list, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
What are you're reading books, you do all these things, you're a busy man. What are you spending the most time on day to day right now? What is your biggest focus?
So I spend most of my time recruiting, trying to figure out who are the most talented people I can get on the team at Kleiner Perkins. For example, it took a decade to recruit Mary Meeker to come to Kleiner Perkins. So this is a constant, multiple nights per month, dinners, meeting of talented people. And, we just announced we have 2 new partners who are so diverse, I have a challenge pronouncing their names. But there's Swati Mailavarupu, who's a Rhodes Scholar from Square. She's fantastic. And then there's Muzammil Jazari, MZ we call him, and he's out of Tencent. And before that, Y Combinator. Yeah, yes. Y Combinator backed a company of MZs. So
So recruiting.
I've got another partner that I'm looking forward to announcing. We do in a month or so.
Okay.
So
Could President Obama come and work at Kleiner Perkins after he retires? There was an article in the New York Times, I want to say like a couple of weeks ago, that was talking about how when President Obama retires, he's going to be very young still. Or not retires, I guess, when he's out of office. He's going to be very young. And what should he do next?
He'll be the youngest retired president ever in our lifetimes. And sure, Al Gore came and is working at Kleiner Perkins, but I think a couple things. Whatever the polls may say, and I'll generate some controversy here, I hope not, but I think Obama's been the best president of my lifetime. He inherited a country that was, we could give it up. Look, we were losing 800,000 jobs a month. The automobile industry was bankrupt. We had 2 unpaid for wars. We had an unpaid for health care benefit, and we were on the verge of going from the Great Recession into the Great Depression. Look at where the country is now. So I would expect that he's going to create a platform that'll do great good for the country, great good for the world, because of what he believes in, what he stands for, and his ability to rally young people in all nations to think about more than ourselves. So I'm very excited to be part of his team that's doing planning for that. It's going to be way more than a library, of that I'm sure. I think it'll be a platform and a cyber-connected platform.
So there is a tech element there. There's
Huge.
a bit of Silicon Valley in it.
Yep.
We only have a couple minutes left here. What does Kleiner Perkins look like in 10 years from now or 35 years from now? You know, another one of your careers at Kleiner Perkins. What are you doing now? You know, what does the future of Kleiner Perkins look like in an ideal world for you?
So in an ideal world, the future of Kleiner Perkins reflects the founders, the entrepreneurs we're trying to serve. So it'll be more diverse, I believe more technical. We'll have a point of view about what's important, but we're going to be open for business for the best ideas that are coming forward. You don't have to look out more than 5 or 10 years to believe there'll be breakthroughs in brain science, as an example, that augmented reality will be a way we connect through our smart mobile devices to the world we're trying to improve. Education will be super important. Healthcare will be important. And you know what? I've just missed 3 huge new fields that somebody out here is thinking about, and I can't even conceive. So I think Kleiner Perkins will be a top-tier venture capital firm. And we have right now in the partnership the next generation of leaders that are going to make that happen. Mike Abbott will make that happen. Wen Shea will make that happen. The new partners that I've talked about will be there delivering on that future. And you know what? Ted Schlein, Randy Komisar, they're going to be getting up every morning with me and fighting to find and win the best investment opportunities. The venture industry is more competitive now than ever before. And so you really have to hustle to find fun, win, and accelerate the success of the best entrepreneurs. If that's not a commercial, I will say, if you got a great idea, please give me a call.
Okay. Well, John Doerr, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.